Hi guys, if it's Tuesday, it's down and dirty Woodscraft. Stay with me. Okay guys, today we're going to talk about water and filtration. Okay? Water is rarely truly clean. Okay? There's something in it. Water is the great solvent. It dissolves things, it cuts rock, it does this, it does that. It's something that by its very nature is dissolving something else, be it rock or soil or concrete or whatever. It also naturally leaches out from the surrounding community other things and contaminations in the soil, like oil or pesticides or agricultural things. All of these things will be leached out into the local water source. So in our modern world, it just makes sense to have some sort of filtration system. And there's all kinds of things out there. The water straws, I hear a lot of people say, why don't I carry one of these drink water straws? Those are great in a survival kit. I am fully behind that. The only disadvantage is, how do you fill up a pot with it? Suck up a mouthful and spit it in the pot? Kind of hard to make ramen noodles that way. But it does provide you hydration, and yeah, in a minimum kit of on the go, yeah, it'd be great, because any water source you came upon, you could get down and drink out of. But remembering where you're at, I live in a semi-tropical jungle down here in Alabama. I don't want to lay down next to any water source to be able to drink through a straw, because there's moccasins and critters around here that will, yeah, you're just putting yourself in strikes harm's way. Having a cup I can pick up full and suck it out of is better, or a bottle I can dip it full with one of those filtrations on top of it. Barring that, as you know, my number one fallback to has always been boiling water, because that will kill anything alive in there, but it's not going to get all that other stuff out, so you need filtration of some form. Now, what the British used for many, many years was a thing called a Milbank bag. And here's a picture of one, if you haven't heard of it before, right here. Okay, all a Milbank bag is a piece of tightly woven sailcloth, okay? This is sort of like denim. It's where the fabric is not flat, but the actual weave throughout gives it a thicker texture, and it absorbs water, and as it absorbs, it puffs up. Now once it puffs up, swelling, it creates the filter effect, so that when I scooped it up full of water to the full line after getting completely saturated wet in the stream, and I went and hung it up, the water would filter through and to the outside and leave as much of the crud, actual particulate matter, inside the bag, and the water which was filtered came through. It is not disinfected, it is merely filtered, which means I pulled as much of that floaty stuff out as I could. And it did a good job in that, and you could still use that method today of using that to filter out all the stuff and then adding your chemical tabs or whatever to the water to kill anything alive in there. That's a system that does work. But as you know, last year I changed over to a Grayl. And so I'm now carrying the Grayl and my cook set that I came up with, and I did a video on how I put this stitch gear carrier with my pots and everything to create my Grayl cook set. But longevity. In the base of this is a filter, great big filter, and those filters are $25, $30 a piece. They do an extremely good job. They filter everything, including viruses, and that's a big deal when you're near agricultural runoff, when you're near industrial runoff, when you're at a water source that may have come a long way and had a big opportunity to pick up a lot of bad things like that. beyond what we think of Giardia and stuff like that, where it may have a chemical stuff in there that can give you some problems, okay? Because water pollution is a thing, all right? So I wanted to try to give my filter as much longevity as I could. In talking with Dan Lutz, he talked about something he'd started doing with his. And it's combining the idea of the Milbank bag as a pre-filter for my Grayl, okay? Now what this is, and I've got this one on here, it came from Campcraft. It's that tight weave canvas that's not treated in any way, so it's going to swell up and allow the water to come to the outside. And they put a toggle into it where I can hook this to a pole, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I can pass it through that loop and be able to carry my Grayl pretty easily. I can hook to this, and I'd have to rely strictly on that handle, okay? Now, the object of this game is, as you can see, it just slides off. This is the pre-filter for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, and it's kind of tight, as you would expect it to be. Come on, baby. All right. Okay, there's that big filter we're talking about. Trying to save the money by pre-filtering to keep it from getting clogged up with whatever might be in that stream. But for the moment, we're going to talk about this. Now, the water, usually I would just simply dip it with this cup, but let's talk about that in a second. Ideally, I would go up to my water source, I would move any surface things out of the way, like pond scum or whatever. I would then take my Grayl cup and fill it full of the water. I would then put into and press down into it to filter the water. That's good. But what about all them little things I can't see? How about using this as an advantage? I take this basically like a British Milbank bag, and I soak it first. I get it sopping wet so it swells up, okay? Also, who says I can get down there to the water's edge? As you've seen in some of my recent videos along these rivers, it might be 8 or 10 feet down, and it's a steep bank. If I slip, I'm going in. So I need to be able to have a little bit of range. Well, there's nothing on this cup other than something to grip. Well, now I do. I've got a toggle, and I can hook this to a pole and reach out there and dip it. Along the edge of the stream and the water source is the highest concentration of the biologicals, because they're in the shallow water trying to stay away from predators. They're in the shallow sunlight, so it warms up better. Out in the middle is the better water. What if I did this and reached out with a 10-foot pole and dipped my water out of the middle of the stream, where it's running water and less turbidity out there? Wouldn't that be an advantage? When I pick it up and fill up this cup, and I bring it back to me, and this outside is sopping wet, right? I now pull the cup out just by reaching in and grab a hold of it, and the lip up here at the top grips the cup, so the cup ain't going to float out easy. And this would be full of water. My bag is soaked. I pour the water into the bag and then go down here. I am pre-filtering that water, correct? Now this, like a Milbank bag, is going to filter out a lot of that turbidity and that other particulate matter. Down here we got a lot of red clay, and that plugs up a water filter in a hurry because it's so fine. It makes the water have a reddish tint to it. Sometimes our city water will even have it because it's so hard to filter out. This way I filter a lot of that out, so that when it filters back in here and fills this cup up to the fill mark, then I bring in and squeeze filter through that to push it on together. So, using this as a tool to carry the cup out into the deeper water. then transferring it to become the filter to filter the water before it goes into the Grayl. Now the Grayl can filter, and I get much more life out of my filter by doing that. It's not going to get plugged up with that red clay scum nearly as bad, because this will do the filtering. And then I can simply just transfer this back onto this. I can either hang it up and let it dry, wring it out, put it off the back of my pack and let it dry, or I can just slide it back on here and stick it back in my cook kit and let it dry. I may want to do this more than once. You know, I'm going to be cooking. The capacity of a Grayl is not quite a full quart. So by doing that, I may want cooking water. So I can pre-filter and use that for my water I'm about to boil. How about that? I now take my cook pot over there and I bring it up just like a standard Milbank, and I filter that water so I don't have as much, you know, red clay rapidity and dissolved minerals in there. I'm going to boil the water. It looks clear enough that I can just boil it. Well, I can use this to get anything out of there I can't see. Pond scum, you know what I mean? And then I've got better water to boil. I then use this as a pre-filter to fill this up for my drinking water. All of that out of an extra piece of canvas that slides into my cook set, just like that. Bring it up over the top, anchor it in place, and we're good to go, just like that. Hope this gives you some ideas, guys. Please leave any questions or comments below. And if you're looking for one of these pre-filters like this Milbank type bag, you can look at Campcraft and they've got them. I'm going to be running it because I want to get as much life out of these $25 filters for these Grayls as I can. I'm very happy with my Grayl. I've been using it now almost a year or close to a year, and I've been very happy with mine. I've carried it all over the place on a lot of adventures, and it's become my favorite way to filter water. I still love my old canteen, but if I've got to filter water, this is the way to go. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, thank you very much for your support. Till next time, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.